these guys are not dealing with drugs. They have a branch that is looking for gold, that are looking for gold or silver or ancient artifacts, to sell, like to traffic and all that stuff. And that's literally like how it works. The thing is, these criminal organizations are gonna be around like flies around shit when there's money to be made, right? Yeah. When you go to places like the Sea of Cortez in Baja California, beautiful sea, and you have a season where a lot of jellyfish come up, right? So that's not working for tourism and shit. So the local fishermen, they started like fishing all these jellyfish, and there was interest by a couple of companies in Taiwan to buy all the jellyfish from them, because they eventually dehydrate them, treat them with salt, and sell it to China, because it's a luxury food in China. So when the cartel learned about that, they're like, okay, so you're making literally millions of dollars out of jellyfish that we don't use in Mexico. Okay, we're in. So they started going in, the Sinaloa cartel particularly, by threatening local fishermen. They killed one, and they burned a couple of the trailers where they moved the jellyfish, just to make a statement and say like, hey, you're not going to deal directly with these Taiwanese companies. We are going to be in the middle. We're going to buy from you super cheap. There is no permission for anyone to go out into the sea without our permission. You need to ask us for permission to go and fish jellyfish before you do, so we know how many exactly you got out of the sea, and we have control of the whole operation. We're going to make money out of it. So they monopolize the whole jellyfish business now.
They're literally like a parasite to any sort of fucking money-making operation that exists down there. Like, it's like communism.
Yeah, literally.
I wonder what China uses the jellyfish for.
They eat it.
They eat jellyfish?
Yeah. They dehydrate the jellyfish. They treat it with salt, and they eat it like
it's like a delicacy.
Yeah, it's like delicacy. Yeah, it's like
Can you find some photos? I wonder if it tastes good.
These
peanut butter and jellyfish sandwich.
It seems to be like super salty. I mean, that's
really?
what I've been told, that it's extremely salty. Probably not tasting good for us, but
jellyfish is eaten in China and other Asian countries. In China, jellyfish is eaten as a delicacy in many ways, including in salads, a part of cold appetizers, and marinated dish. Oh, that doesn't look bad. I bet you with some soy sauce. I bet you it was pretty good.
I'm not sure, man, because if it's already salty, could you imagine that even with like soy sauce?
Oh yeah, that might be too salty.
Dehydrated and pickled with sesame oil and salads.
I want to try some now.
Yeah, I don't feel so inclined to.
The fishermen were making millions of dollars harvesting these jellyfish.
Yeah.
And now they're being taxed by the cartels.
Exactly. Just as what happened with the
I mean, is it
avocado?
a fair tax, or is it a tax that literally like
crazy.
Cripples their business?
Literally, this past season, they lost the whole season because they couldn't pay the.
I'm saying, is it a fair tax? Like,
is it fair? It is fair.
20%'s fair. 50 would be unfair.
There's no fair game. Yeah, dude. Yeah, so it's wild. They had to stop the whole season because they didn't want to deal with cartels, right? They were too afraid. It was wild. I spoke with one of these fishermen, and he's like, dude, I'm too scared to go out and, ask for, who's going to ask for permission, and how's that going to work? And if you're in the middle and, they think that you're ripping them off, and so like, no, you got more jellyfish than what you're telling me, whatever. So he was like too afraid.
Well, didn't you just do a story about some farmers who were getting extorted? They were basically taxing them so much, and the farmers got to a point where it's like, they're not making enough money on harvesting whatever it was they were...
Avocados.
The avocados. They weren't making enough money, so where they either had to die fighting against the cartel or die of starvation because they weren't going to make any money.
Yeah. This has been happening in Mexico for a while. Every Super Bowl season, the U.S. consumes so many avocados. And
guacamole?
Yeah, dude. Yes.
Holy fuck.
That it makes a war in Mexico.
We love guac.
Dude, every Super Bowl season is war season in Mexico. So now there is a police called the Avocado Police, La Policía del Aguacate in Michoacán. It's basically civilians geared up on their own resources to look over
Michoacán, that's in Sinaloa?
That's in...
or that's Sinaloa, it's in Michoacán?
No, Michoacán's a different state.
Okay,
but it's
got it.
it's central Mexico.
Okay.
So they that's where the self-defense groups came up 10 years ago with Hipólito Mora, right? The first time they basically armed themselves and said, like, we're going to fight against cartel, we're going to fucking die. Eventually, they won their first fight, which was a great precedent for, I mean, a great background for Mexico. So there started, like, a lot of people started forming their own guerrillas or their own self-defense groups until cartels said, like, you know what, fuck it, we had enough. So this year, I was in Michoacan because they killed the founder of the self-defense groups, a man, a very fucking brave man, farmer called Hipólito Mora. He was the leader. He was kind of like the central figure for every other self-defense groups in Mexico, right? And they killed him on his way back to his house from his farm, and they burned him alive inside his pickup truck. He had guard by the Mexican state officials. They put him guards to protect his life because he has been receiving threats. Even they all got killed and burned inside the vehicles. It was sad and alarming. I visited his house. I visited the place where he was burned, where his body was burned. Dude, everybody was like quiet, like in a fucking funeral. No one was like saying anything. The town looked deserted. It was really, I don't know, dude. It was like, yeah, kind of like sad and scary at the same time.
So what's going to happen with this farm?
Well, they kept it.
Who kept it?
The fucking cartels. The cartels kept all of his land.
So they killed him and they got away with stealing his fucking farm.
Yeah, dude. And very recently, probably the story you were talking about, probably like 2 weeks ago in Mexico State, these farmers also got extorted. They've been extorted forever by La Familia Michoacana, another cartel in central Mexico. But they asked for twice what they were getting. They were paying 1 peso per square foot on whatever they were harvesting. A peso, it's right now it's 18 pesos per $8. So it's probably a peso is not significant in U.S. currency, but for a Mexican,
1 peso per square foot
of what they were harvesting, right? A lot of corn, beans, whatever they're harvesting.
Okay.
So if you have, I don't know, 10,000 square meters of whatever you're harvesting, you need to pay a peso for every square foot, right, of that. And they asked them for twice that. They're like, okay, so this year you're going to have to pay, starting this year, double, 2 pesos per square foot. They had a really bad season because it didn't rain in that part of Mexico this season. So they were like, dude, there's no way we can pay that. So they're like, well, you either pay or you die. They said yes, but they met a night before. They had to meet these guys to pay the taxing, right? And they met at a soccer field in this little town in Mexico. The cartel members showed up, all geared up as usual, dressed as military members, whatever. And then the whole community showed up. But they showed up with shotguns, machetes, sticks, and stones. And they were like, we're not paying shit, man. And a fucking hell broke loose. You see the videos. There's people getting cold killed like that. Like, boom, right in the fucking head. And then another guy in the back is like, boom, you killed my friend. Everybody started killing everyone. In total, there were 14 murders. 11 of those murders were cartel members. So that was a big win for that community.
Wow.
They were like, because they killed the leader of the La Familia Michoacana in that region.
Oh, no
right?
shit.
So they're like, fuck off. Now, this past week, they came back. La Familia Michoacana came back to that town and kidnapped a lot of young girls, a lot of babies, mothers. They're keeping them as ransom. So because they're asking, like, turn over your leaders, the guys who started this fucking fight. Turn them over to us, or we're gonna kill all your family members. And the situation is still tense. I mean, they still haven't released the kids, the women, because they want the community to turn over the leaders of who started that revolt against the cartel, to teach them a lesson. Right?
And what does the Mexican military do about this? Are they asking them to help?
Nothing. They've been asking for help for probably the last 5 years, this community. And the Mexican army or the Mexican government has never showed up. What the Mexican president said was just like, oh, yeah, we knew about those guys. They were major targets for us. We were just unable to find them before, but they're dead now. So you guys are good. And that's it. That's literally it. Yeah, dude, it's mind-blowing what's happening right now in Mexico.
That's fucking insane, man.
Wild.